Give me a break, will you? What's up, everybody? Welcome back to our channel. Hey, if you're new here, please click that like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell notification. This way you get notified every time I upload a video. Well, today's video is all about, give me a break, will you? That's right, brakes. Not that type of brake, but brakes to help slow your bike down. And we're not doing preventive maintenance, we're actually doing a brake upgrade. Now, what we're upgrading here are to the cubic style rotors from Galfer with their pads front and rear on the 2023 Road Glide ST with the 135. And why are we doing that? Well, I'll tell you. With the added horsepower and torque, one, slowing this thing down has become a little bit more of a chore, and two, the brakes are getting a little overheated. Not bad, but enough where you're having some problems slowing down. So remember, when you add all that go, you need to add a little bit of whoa. So upgrading your bike is always fun, making it go faster, but you also need to make it stop. Because I don't know about you, I don't like hitting a wall. I don't like doing things, you know, hard objects to help me stop is not a good thing. So we want to be able to stop on our own within a reasonable amount of time and reasonable amount of distance. So, yep, we're not retracing the calipers. We're doing rotors and pads. That's right, rotors and pads. And there's some one-time use parts, which would be the hardware. Use them once, throw them out. That's not my rule. That's Harley's rule. That's what's in the book, and we go by the book. So what do we need to do? Well, we need to take off our saddlebags, pull the back tire, take off the front brake calipers, pull off the front fender, pull off the front wheel, set us up with an older tire, put the wheel on, change the rotor, put it all back together. But if you hang out, I'll show you how to do that. Okay, I got the wheel off. As you can see, I have other videos in my history to show how to remove a wheel. I already broke these loose, so what we want to do is remove these high bolts. Now remember, these are only a one-time use only. And before rotor pops right off. It's that simple. So these are a one-time use, but before we put new bolts in, I want to clean these threads, and I'll show you what we do to clean them. Okay, the thread diameter pitch is a 3/8 by 16, and I have what we have here. It's called a thread cleaner. It's not a tap, it's a thread cleaner, which means it does not make new threads, but it cleans the threads. Start it by hand, run it in and out. What we're doing is we're cleaning off all that old thread locker. And once all that old thread locker is removed, then we could, install all the new rotor with the new hardware. Let me get this done, and when I'm ready, I'll show you the new rotor. Okay, guys, I got all the threads cleaned up, nice and clean and fresh for our new cubic rotor, and that goes on just like that. Now, just to give you an idea from what we had to what we have now. So we went from this kind of blah, plain Jane, to this. Now this actually promotes better cooling because there's larger holes for heat to dissipate. But as far as the braking service goes, or the braking pressure, it's actually the same, if not better, than stock, because we get the rotors from Galfer, and you know, so there's the rotors and the pads from Galfer. And on Spaceball, I have no complaints with the braking power on that. So now we're going to tighten these down in a star formation, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we'll torque it. So let me get this done and I'll show you the torques. Okay, so the torque is 30 to 45 foot-pounds of torque. So I'm going to split the difference. So it brings me to 37.5 foot-pounds of torque. And yes, these new screws came with thread locker on it from Harley. Just take your time and always go in the star formation. Oh. All right, guys, so let's verify our torque. So now we know we're torqued. We're just going to go around, no formation, just go around, just to verify our torque. And I'm looking just for that one click. One click, please. Just one click. You remember that movie, Hunt for Red October? One ping, please.
Give me a ping, Vasily. One ping only, please.
That's the front. I'm sorry, the rear, not the front. I had not enough coffee yet today. And it's a Sunday. So, neutral out my torque wrench, because I'm not going to need this right away. But now, I get to reinstall this wheel. Now, if you're curious, the rear torque for the axle nut is 75 foot-pounds, and I will do that, and I'll change the pads. Like I said, I got plenty of other videos of that. So here, there's 2 bolts on this side that remove your brake calipers, 2 bolts on this side for your front fender, and the same thing on the other side, front fender caliper bolts. However, on this side there is a 15/16 nut that you have to remove. And this pinch bolt is a 4mm. You loosen that up. Once you get the bike jacked up and the weight off the tire, you go ahead and move that axle, remove the wheel. So, wheel's removed. Now, we get to remove the brake rotor. Let me show you how we get this off. So what we need to do is, it's a T40. I'm going to go around, I'm just going to brake torque on these, because the torque on these bolts, believe it or not, is 20 foot-pounds. And per Harley Davidson, like the rear, these are a one-time use only. And that's the spring clip, the hat, and the bolt, all one-time use. So don't keep out and reuse your hardware, because you could cause yourself severe injury. The bolts could be could break, and then you lose control, and that's not cool.
Safety first.
That's right, safety first. So once you get those 5 off, this just slides off. And what makes this a floating rotor? Everybody goes, hey, why are these rotors floating? Well, you look at these hats, they got the spring clip that go in here. And you can see on the inside, and it allows it to move left, right, forward and backwards. So the rotor's floating literally on the hub, even though these bolts are torqued down. So, like before, you're going to take your thread chase, which is a 5/16, and just like before, I'm going to start it by hand, and then I'm going to clean them out to the best of my ability, going back and forth. You don't want to just run them all the way in, because as the old thread locker comes off and you back it out, it comes off through the top. So let me get the other 4 done, and then we'll get back to installing it. All right, guys, time to unbox our rotor here from Galfer, and it's a nice package. So we're going to open this up. And they give you the hats with the spring clips. They give you...
It's a life stickers.
Stickers. It's like the golden ticket to Willy Wonka, but it's a sticker.
Oh, but wait, there is a golden one.
There is a golden one.
Now you could go run screaming into the streets.
Where's the Oompa Loompas? They're coming for you, Mel.
No.
She loves Oompa Loompas.
These are creepy.
Guys, if you get a chance, send Mel Oompa Loompas.
No, don't.
Yeah.
They're creepy.
So here's
Especially
the new
70s
rotor.
one.
And you'll see the printing on one side. That's the side that faces out. So we're going to place that right on our wheel. Undo our new hats, and I don't know what these are exactly called. I call them hats because they look like a hat.
Yeah.
You know, little top hat. That.
Great.
Hey, it's over there now. Oh. So,
Okay.
and you take the new spring, and what I do is I put these all in first. I do not get one started and tighten down. No, I get them all started one at a time, to include the bolts, because you can get these where they are not sitting flat the way they're supposed to, and I'll show you that right here. So if you put these in, you could see how that's not sitting flat.
There's this one.
Right, when you pull that up, you can see how it's sitting down. That's not what you want. So take your time. Like I always say, take your time, do a nice job. And now that's sitting much better. So what I'll do is I'll take our bolts, brand new from Harley. Part number is 415-00020. They give you 5 brandy new ones. They're T40. They come with the thread locker. And I will start each one by hand. And it doesn't matter if you go in a pattern or not. But you might have to move the rotor around to get everything to line up to its happy place. And the torque on these is 20 foot-pounds. Remember on the back, there was they were more. They're like 37.5. These are 20 foot-pounds because the torque is 16 to 24. So I go right to 24. I mean right to 20. All right. So I already got my torque wrench. It's already preset to 20 foot-pounds of torque. I'm going to go in a star pattern. That's 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. Now we're going to verify the torque. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's it for putting your brake rotors on your wheels. Now we're going to mount the wheel and get it all back together. And we're going to actually do that one together. I'm not going to get ahead of myself this time. I apologize, but here we go. Okay, so now we got the tire. You always got to make sure you follow your rotation pattern. So always take a look at it. And we put it on. Now, we have to clean our axle. Because if you don't clean the axle, you'll have problems removing it again when you next time you have to change a tire, or you have a problem with your brake rotors, or you bend a wheel. Hopefully not, but you always want to clean it. Clean all that old stuff off. Some people, I won't say their name, feel you don't have to because it's already on there. However, I come from the school of when you take it off, clean it. One, you can inspect it, and then two, you can know you got fresh anti-seize. You can use axle grease. I've seen that used in the past. I've used it in the past, but going by Harley's good book, it's a fine coat of anti-seize. And what I do is I put it on here, and then I take a paper towel, and then I make sure I coat the whole thing. And it's a thin coat. It doesn't have to be gooped on there. Yep, just enough, just like that. Just enough. So now we come to the ever controversial, do these lines go in towards the wheel or out towards the fork? In towards the wheel, out towards the fork. My thing on this is, doesn't matter. It's a spacer. It's all aesthetics. The lines on here, tell them at the assembly plant, in or out for ABS, non-ABS. That's all it is. And everybody gets all up in arms over it. So we're going to line up our ABS sensor and our axle spacer, and we're going to try and get our this is always a dance, trying to get everything to fit. The struggle is real. Hey, it's over there now.
Sorry. Got it?
Yep. The struggle is real. So put our ABS sensor on, put our axle spacer in, and try and get everything to line up. There we go. And we got it in.
Yay.
So now you take your axle, you feed it through, and you pick up on the wheel, set it through there. I always try and put those on the bottom. So while that's in, I'm going to start on the nut on this side. All right. So you get that sort of set. Line up this to here, because that's how that's going to go. And let me look up the torques and we'll get back to you. All right, guys. Now we're changing the pads, because when you put the new rotors on, Galfer recommends you use their pads. And you got to remove this little clip. And then a 5mm. Let me put that down. Screw is right here. Just zip that right out. And of course you want to collapse your pistons. And you just pop one pad out, pop the other pad out. Because Galfer says to get the best performance out of their rotors is use their pads. And from my experience, I can't agree more, because I use their pads and rotors on Spaceball. So, garbage. Nice new pads from Galfer.
Shiny.
Yep, you can see they're a semi-metallic. Yeah, they are nice and shiny. And they go in one way. Make sure the steel plate faces the pistons. because if you don't, you will have a grinding noise. Then you take that screw that you had, put it back in, and snug it up.
That holds them.
And that holds them right in. So put your caliper on. Now you have this wire chase or support bracket for your ABS. Make sure that gets on properly. And this one goes here. Now that's a 10 millimeter, that's it, the 10 millimeter 12-point socket. So I zip them on. There is a torque to it, but I never use the torque. I always just go by feel. And I've done lots of brakes and wheels and tires. And now we will tighten up this pin, or just make sure it's tight, and it is. This clip goes right in here around that pin, just like that. Oh, then you take your cover. The part with the 2 prongs goes on the bottom, the 1 prong goes on the top, and that's it. Torque this to 75 foot-pounds. Your pinch bolt, I got to look up that torque. We'll get back to you. All right, guys. So when you're doing projects, if you look at the back here in your manual, it'll have all of your torque specs. All right. Yes, I know this is for 14 Harley Davidson Touring models. It's the same thing for the 23s because it's the same forks. So the axle nut is 70 to 75 foot-pounds, and the where is it? Fork. I just saw it. There you go. Fork axle pinch screw is 18 to 22 foot-pounds. So I'm going to go to 20 foot-pounds on that torque, and it's done. And I'll show you right where that is. Come around here. There it is. That's already torqued and in there. The axle nut is torqued to 75 foot-pounds. And all we got left to do now is mount the fender. All right, guys. And it's only 4 screws. If you need me to show you that, then give me a call and make an appointment. Bring it in. Until the next one, you guys live the best life you can. Ride often and ride hard.
Like and subscribe.